YouTubers, what's up? It's your boy Hamlet. We're gonna be bringing you a video on some numbers on trucking, all right? So if you're new to this channel, don't forget, mash that like button, mash the subscribe button, drop a comment down below, let us know what you think of this video. I would like this video to be as interactive as possible for, you know, new owner ops, lease drivers, whatever, coming into the game, and just talk about their differences on opinions on running. So me and my brother, we were kind of running in the same area, and we figured we'd do a comparison on two different ways of running. One way of running that I was starting to do, which was kind of a short haul, which I was going to be picking up 2 loads, delivering one of them and holding on to the other one for the previous day. And I considered that the short haul, and the other one is going to be the one that my brother does, which is kind of like a mid-range or long haul, which is about 500 miles or so, and he delivers that the next day. All right, now on here we're gonna have this complete breakdown of, you know, fuel mileage. We'll keep it the same because we're trying to really figure out what is the difference, not so much what is the difference that you can do to make your numbers better. So we're just gonna make the fuel mileage the same, and we're gonna break down to see really like who made the most money, right? Because that's at the end of the day what you're trying to figure out, maximizing, you know, your bottom line, your profit. So what we got here is a little board. All right, so the one thing that I'm going to get used to is this opposite, you know, when it's recording, it's showing this opposite thing. But anyways, right, we have truck A and truck B. Now, these trucks both running in roughly about the same area, okay? So, like I said, what we did was the short haul versus the mid or long haul. And this is for typical general freight flatbed, okay? So I don't want nobody coming up here and saying I get 20 bucks a mile, whatever. All right, this is just a simple exercise on just showing on the different rates that you can get right now at the spot market, and seeing how, you know, those different numbers, you know. So maybe you running these loads in your head and you think that, you know, you can do this and this is how much you should be getting. You know, this is just more of an exercise, all right? So don't be coming up here and telling me all about how much money you're getting loads per mile or whatever, right? So here we go. All right, let's get into it. And we got truck A and truck B, okay? The truck A was me, okay? So right here we're sitting at about, total miles was about 390 miles, and for truck B we have 530 total miles. This is including deadhead to picking up the load. All right, so right here we have 450, 750, and 1200. So that's how much money we got off of the first load, $450 plus $750, and total equates to 1200. So that's doing the 2 loads and sitting over one load over the next day. Okay, now this $1,300 that he just did just that one load, so that's just the 1,300 in total versus the 1,200. Okay, so definitely a difference in miles. You can see 390 versus 530. And right here what I written down is we kept the time track of how many hours we actually put in from the time that we started driving, deadheading to go pick up that load towards the end of the day. Includes, you know, it does include some free time in there. So, but this is the beginning of your day and your end of the day, which is, I think, pretty important, you know, because, you know, the quicker you get your work done, the quicker you don't have to be working per se, right? So 13 hours, 10 hours, okay? Now, what I wind up doing here, okay, On these two loads that I had to do, the first load was a just strap and go, and the second one was tarp. Okay, so that did take me some time to do, and my brother, he had just a regular load, strap and go. Okay, so that's why you might see a difference there. Also, 13 hours versus the 10, you're gonna see when you do the short haul, doing two different loads, your day is typically gonna be longer, because you're gonna be waiting at the shipper and the receiver 2 times, possibly. So you're gonna be waiting for them to offload. So this number can generally be much bigger or less, all depending on how fast you get offloaded and how quick you get loaded, or if you have to tarp and untarp, vice versa. So typically on the short haul, I try not to get any loads that tarp, because it definitely decreases the time that I'm going to be able to get the second load. So typically I don't try to get no tarp on the very first load. Okay, and this is just something that I've been trying out, and what I've seen has been working out for me. And my brother, he didn't get no tarp, so we won't talk about that too much. Obviously, if you had a Conestoga, this loading time, you can definitely decrease it. Okay, so on here, what we have on this line is the total. What do we have here on this line? Okay, what we have here is the gallons. Okay, approximately how many gallons of fuel we burn doing these long haul or short haul, how many gallons we actually use. So I just went ahead and I did 5.5 miles per gallon. We're just gonna say the trucks, that's what they average. That they might have averaged more, might have averaged less, whatever. We're gonna say 5.5. So we did the 390 miles, divide that by 5.5. We got 70 gallons on this side, and we got 96 gallons on the truck B. Okay, so that comes out to about $212 if you paid about $3 per gallon on fuel, and we did the $3 a gallon on this side, and we got $289. Okay, so there's a difference there, not very much, but still a difference. Okay, and what we wanted to do was like, okay, like how much did you get paid an hour at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, my brother only put in 10 hours of work, loading and unloading, driving, vice versa, and I put in 13 hours. So my day was longer, about 3 hours. So, even though you got kind of close to my gross, you worked harder, right? Or that's what we're trying to figure out here. Who really made more money per se, right? So there's a bunch of different ways that you can, play with numbers and figure out who made more or who profited more, and that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day, is trying to figure out how to better up your numbers and increase your bottom line. Decrease the bottom line or whatever. Make more money, okay? You get the point. So what I decided to do was get the total amount, right? The gross, which was $1,200, and we immediately removed $212, which is the fuel. Immediately removed that from the top, and that comes out to about $988 was remaining. Now this is not going to include, if you have to pay a carrier. This is not going to include, truck payments or anything. This is just for the load. Okay, so $988. We decided to, let's divide that by the hours that how long our day was. So I did 13 hours. That roughly comes out to about $76 an hour I was getting paid working those 13 hours, which is very interesting, when you work on things such as this, right? So on my brother's side, what we did was we did the fuel. Okay, let me hold this on this side. So on my brother's side, right here, 96 gallons to use, about $289. We erased from the 1,300, we subtracted 289. That comes out to about $1,011. $1,011, and we divided that by the 10 hours that he was working, and he made $101.10, $101 an hour compared to my 76. So right here, when you look at how much money these two different trucks made, when you look at it on a per hour basis, you know, you think about working harder and work smarter, not harder. My brother definitely got the good deal of that stick, because, you know, he was getting paid $101 an hour, where I was getting paid $76 an hour. So definitely he worked, you know, smarter, not harder. But when you look at the differences on the total miles that you driven, 390 miles that I driven and 530 miles that he drove, we're off from the 1,011 minus the 988. So the difference is between these two loads, when we wind up subtracting the fuel from it, the difference was only $23, okay? So he made $23 more than me, but he drove a little bit more than me. So when figuring out, you know, your rate per mile, or, you know, the cost of your equipment, running it per mile, you definitely want to take that into account, because in a way it looks like he made more than me, but did he really, you know, did he really made $23 more than me? But he actually did. In this equation, let's talk about, you know, going home. Doing the somewhat long haul, can you pass by through the house maybe multiple times a week? Possibly, but maybe every other night. You know, doing a run typically like this, short haul about 390 miles, I was able to stay and pass by through the house throughout every night. You know, I've been trying this, you know, but it's really hard, because, you know, you're 13 hours, you're no longer staying within a 12-hour window, so you can't be starting every day at the same time if you continue to stay at 13 hours. And I know that's kind of getting into like hours of service, but it matters, because hours of service kind of dictate how much money you're going to make anyways, right? So definitely, you know, doing a run like this that's only going to take you about 10 hours to do, you can always start your day earlier or at a certain time, and as long as you stay within that 12-hour window, you'll be able to start every day at XYZ time. So this is more harder to pull off, and at the end of the day, you know, difference is about, you know, 130 miles or so, right? 390, because that'd be 490. 150 miles, okay? It'll be about roughly about 150 miles, 140 miles difference, okay? So you got to ask yourself, is the difference worth it? You know, the 140 miles, 150 miles that you do every day, if you times that by 5, you know, so there's a bunch of different ways you can do that. You know, you can play with numbers. You know, let's say, okay, if I continue doing this, right, if I saved myself about 140 miles, and you times that by 5, and you times that by the months, you times that by the year, how many miles are you going to be saving wear and tear on your truck by doing that versus doing something like this? What's it going to be worth for you, and working for $76 an hour or $100 an hour? All right. So I don't know. I still don't know if I feel like I made more, in the beginning when I added it up, I was like, damn, bro, I only had to do 390 miles to get to 1200, but you had to do 530 miles to get to 1300. So I felt like I was good. But by the time you factor in, how long your day was, I mean, this 13 hours, you had to bust your ass for this 13 hours. You understand that, right? Like, I was going, to pull off 2 loads, you have to be moving. You can't just be like, lolly-dallying around. So, that's the one thing about trucking that me and my brother always figured out. It's the opportunity to work, okay? The opportunity to work XYZ hours a day is available in trucking, but not really available working any other job, just because of the waiting around and the hours. You could be working from any time of the day. So, like I said, $76 an hour versus the 101 an hour. Who do you think won? I mean, not won, but who do you think made more money or more profit? Work harder and not smarter, or work yourself more versus you working the truck more. Because essentially I did more work than the truck did in this scenario, versus like my brother, the truck did most of the work and he didn't. So very different ways of seeing, breaking down numbers and seeing how you can maximize your profit, and just showing 2 different examples of how to run a trucking business out here, whether you do local or super long haul or just regular mid-range to long haul. Bunch of different ways to do your numbers, and of course your numbers are all gonna be a little bit different. If you have a fuel card, you're paying cheaper fuel. If you're leased onto a carrier, it's going to be even, the numbers are going to be much more different. So don't forget to take those into accountability when you run your numbers, and hopefully you guys appreciate this kind of video. If you like more of this content, let me know. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the video. I appreciate the feedback. And at the end of the day, folks, the choice is simple. You get busy living or you get busy dying. It's your boy. Later.